Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hi, we are so happy to have you joining us today for our session to share ideas and learn together about innovative outreach strategies. Marketing and outreach can sometimes feel daunting, or maybe it isn't your primary responsibilities and it has become kind of one of your other duties as assigned. So we are here today to talk about strategies and how fellow libraries are finding success. My name is Catherine Bergerson. I am the Vice President of Marketing at NewsBank. Working behind the scenes with me today is my colleague, India Bradford Jones. You may hear me call out to her during our presentation. Just to let you know, the session is recorded and you will receive a copy and a follow-up email. We are here at the top of the hour. I see people are still joining us, and it's great to have all of you here today. We're going to get started. On our agenda, quick overview of NewsBank, and then we will jump right into the program and introduce our panelists. And together we will share practical outreach strategies, highlighting some success stories, perhaps some lessons learned, and get some different library perspectives. Talk about social media, what's new, what's working right now, and really our hope and goal is to provide you with some actionable tips that you can start using right away, including a handout document with some ready-to-use strategies. We will have time for questions, and you will see an icon probably on the top of your screen. Looks like a chat box or has a question mark on it. You can open that up at any time, type your questions in. We'll do our best to get to all of them, but if we run short on time, we will commit to getting back to you in the near future. Then we'll talk about some next steps and wrap things up in less than an hour. So to begin, I'd like to share a brief background on NewsBank. We are a leading news and information provider to research institutions and public libraries, schools, and universities for more than 50 years. We aggregate sources from all around the world, bringing you and your patrons credible, vetted, global news sources, many of which are unique to NewsBank, and all are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from any device. So we are so grateful and excited to welcome our three panelists who will be sharing their insights with us today. Joining us is Talor Bennett. She is with Woodford County Library in Kentucky. We also have Stephanie Rath-Tickle from Phillipsburg Free Library in New Jersey, and Crystal Snyder with Columbia Public Library in Illinois. So hello, and thank you so much for being here today, everyone. Hello, Talor. Welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Great to see you. And let's see, Stephanie and Crystal. I can't quite see. Stephanie, hello, welcome. Hi.
Hello, thank you again for having me here. Yes.
Absolutely. And well, Crystal is joining us and hopping in. Let's get started. Oh, hello, Crystal. Yay. Great. Thanks, ladies. Let's just jump right in. Just want to start with if each of you could share a little bit about your library, the location, the size, kind of urban, rural, and your role. Crystal, could we start with you?
Hello, my name is Crystal Snyder, and I'm the Assistant Director and Community Outreach Librarian at Columbia Public Library. Columbia Public Library is a city library in Columbia, Illinois. We're a small town about 12 miles from St. Louis, Missouri. We serve a resident population of about 10,999 people. And we also serve some rural non-resident areas around us as well. We have some active users, patrons-wise, is 2,800 people, and the collection is about 46,000 in items. As far as my primary responsibilities for my job, I definitely do a lot in community engagement. Some of those responsibilities may include promoting the library anywhere and everywhere, managing the website, social media, attending any outreach related activities, um, collaborating with outside organizations to bring in extra funding to make things possible, and a lot of event planning and coordinating, and lots else. So that would be kind of sum up a lot of what I do. So.
Wonderful. Thank you. Talor, how about you?
Hi, everyone. I'm Talor Bennett, and I am the Public Relations and Marketing Manager at Woodford County Library here in Kentucky. We have 2 locations. Our main library is in downtown Versailles and a branch in Midway. Woodford County is rural, but being right next to Lexington gives us a mix of small town charm, and it is easy to access to a larger city. Our collection has over 80,000 items, plus tons of digital resources. In my role, I handle communication outreach and marketing, social media, press releases, event coordination, displays, and more. A big part of what I do is community engagement, making sure people know the library is a place for them and that they see themselves reflected in what we have to offer here at the library.
Thank you very much. And Stephanie.
Hi there. So yeah, I am the reference librarian here at Phillipsburg Free Public Library, and we're kind of a suburban standalone municipal library. We serve a population of between 15 and 16,000 residents. And we have a collection of between 80 and 90,000 physical items in our building, along with a variety of digital resources, including ebooks, e-audio, magazines, et cetera, as well as databases, including NewsBank. And kind of similar to Crystal, I am a little bit of a jack of all trades here. I do our adult reference, adult programming, collection development. I'm kind of the de facto IT person. I handle our social media, our website, marketing, and I'm kind of the outreach point person. I'm the person that when the library is out doing outreach at events around town, it's usually me.
Well, thank you each very much. I think it's good to have different perspectives. I think that, yeah, with people in the audience can relate to having those other, some things, are de facto you, or, oh, because I know how to do social media, now that becomes part of your responsibilities, versus, having a dedicated PR and outreach person. So I think it's great to have those different types of perspectives here today. So thank you for being here. Crystal, we'll start with you again. And you mentioned some of them, but if you could talk, about what are some of your primary go-to ways of reaching out to patrons. And I know that we're, always trying to reach new patrons. Tell us about those strategies.
So as far as digital resources go, I manage the website, and I worked on updating that in 2020 because ours was very out of date, and so making it. And I trained myself on that, by the way. I'm not a trained website person. I had to teach myself, and so I basically worked on making that very user friendly for our audience here in Columbia. And also Facebook and Instagram. Facebook and Instagram, I actually had to start I've been in this job for about 8 years, and I had to start that from the ground up because our Facebook page had to be, our old one had to be replaced basically, and because we got locked out of it with another moving on, and Instagram was a totally new thing. And so I've been kind of working that up as well the last 8 years. As far as behind our front desk, we have TV advertisements, a large TV advertisements going of the things we offer, whether events or services or like our resources. We also have like our city, I jumped on board with that. Our city actually a couple years ago, they actually got a like a phone app for the city, just so that city residents had like emergency notifications, things like that happening, like road blockages and stuff happening in the city. So I asked them if we could be put on that app, and so that people could have direct access to different links to like what we offer. And one of those is like an e-resources sort of page that offers all that showcases our stuff. We also have you know, like our Library is a popular newsletter that everyone gets, and I try to feature NewsBank on there, or other resources and events. In-person print advertisement, our biggest, I'm just gonna really like be proud of our staff, honestly, because our staff are really great at getting the word out at the front desk and recommending resources and being willing to show people how to get access to those with their library card. Also, weekly, I do articles for our newspaper, our local newspaper. Occasionally we talk at community meetings like our Women's Club, Rotary, Chamber of Commerce. Um, our city has a quarterly newsletter. We worked on getting on that so that we can share what's going on at the library with that. You know, flyers, banners we put in front of the library or around the community. There's a seniors club in town that we worked on starting, and that's another you know, way we promote. So
Excellent. I love to hear that. I'd love to talk a little bit more too about some of those and go a little bit more in depth in a moment. But Talor, yeah, to just give us, you know, an overview of some of the primary ways that you do outreach.
So I started this job 9 months ago. So in the 9 months, I have learned that using a mix of traditional and digital and in-person methods have worked a ton for our library. So like flyers, posters, and our monthly calendar is still really popular here. People actually come in and they look forward to grabbing the calendar each month. We also partner with schools, senior centers, and community groups to get information directly into the community. Our community isn't really that big, so word of mouth is a huge help for us. Also, online, Facebook and Instagram are our main platforms. We recently started a podcast called Hometown Highlights, which shares stories about people, places, and events that make our community special. So I tend to interview people here within the community to help get their story out, and just for people who don't know about them to also help that too. And of course, our programs and clubs, story times, book groups, and crafting workshops are a huge engagement for those face-to-face connections, and they often lead to the best word of mouth promotion for us.
Excellent. Thank you. Yes, I want to talk more about that podcast too and hear more about that. Stephanie, your turn.
Okay. So I'm not sure there's a whole lot that hasn't already been covered, but I would say our biggest outreach would be our monthly newsletter. So we make sure that that's available to our patrons in as many formats and venues as possible. So we send it out as a email newsletter. We have print copies that we make available in the library. And then anytime I'm doing outreach offsite, I make sure that I have a supply of those to also hand out to folks at those events, because they may not be familiar with what the library is doing. They may not be familiar even with where it is or that we have one local. And then we also make sure that we do social media posts on Facebook and Instagram at the beginning of each month, letting folks know that the newsletter is out. And then you actually have it there on the slide right there, that we always make sure that the current month's newsletter is highlighted on the front page of our website. And then we also do a lot of flyers. We put them around the library. We bring them on outreach. Sometimes if it's something that there's a particular venue that we think folks might be interested in that specific program, we might like see if we can hang those flyers somewhere else, whether it's something that might appeal to seniors, we might bring something to the senior center, things like that. Or perhaps if we're going to a outreach at a school event, we would specifically bring our children's monthly calendar. And let's see what else. What else do we do? Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much the bulk of it. And then also just trying to cross promote at our events as well. So if we're holding an event, and again, based on that event, we know that that's going to be our target audience for another event. We make sure that we bring that, whether it's for resources, whether it's for events, like if we're doing events that involve gardening and plants and stuff are really big at our library. I make sure I have brochures for our seed library to say, hey, you can actually borrow seeds from the library, things like that.
Excellent, thank you. Stephanie, I'm going to stay with you. You mentioned Facebook and Instagram. So I assume that those are the platforms that are performing best for you. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's where we put basically all of our energy because we found over the years that's where we get the most engagement and the most reach.
Are there any trends that you've been seeing lately? I know that there's talk about some sites are new and starting up, or more video TikTok type things, or what trends are you seeing, or what gets the most engagement right now for you?
So I mean, maybe not necessarily just like current trends, but just the overall trend that I've seen is that when we do photos or videos, the ones that involve people are the ones that get the most engagement. They don't want to just see random graphics or, there are some where we'll do our New Book Tuesday post. So every Tuesday we'll post a picture of the new releases that are coming out, and that's pretty popular. But they really want to see kind of the faces of the library staff, and of the folks that are actually using the library. That seems to be what draws the most attention for sure.
Thank you. Talor, how about you? What social media sites are you using and trends are you seeing?
Right now, our main focus is Instagram and Facebook. Really, Facebook is how we keep in touch with our older audience, and then Instagram is more towards our younger audience. For Instagram, I'm seeing more trends in reels. We tend to get a lot of views and interaction with our reels. Like we do like a lot of funny video challenges, like to help promote our programs, and we get a lot of feedback that people really love those. And then on Facebook, I tend to take pictures of us at like our events and stuff. People tend to interact more with those for us.
Thank you. Fun. Oh, we should all make sure that we have each other's sites and links to follow and share ideas from each other. That's great. I'd love to see some of your reels and those ideas. Crystal, what's going on at your library with social?
I would have to agree with Stephanie on the, and both of them actually, on pictures of staff, but also I've noticed what I've been trying to do more of is when I put a picture of a staff out there, it's of them doing something. So recently we put a picture out, we got like 10 big giant, we have a courier system that brings in books from other libraries, and we got like a stack of 10 totes brought in from other libraries because that's how much our community is really using that service. So I had the ladies stand next to these tall totes to kind of get an idea of like how much they were going to be going through that day to process. And people just loved it. I think they like seeing, what the staff are really doing at the library in a way, besides just, smile pictures and I do a lot of event pictures and stuff too, but I feel like that gets a big return. I also notice our Instagram is getting a little bit bigger, I think partly because there are some people migrating away from Facebook and going more towards Instagram. I think a lot more people are just they want to see what's going on, but they don't necessarily want to have to interact. A lot of people have busy lives, and so they tend to be going that direction. But still, Facebook is the place right now, as far as where a lot of people are. So I try to take advantage of all the features they have, whether it's their event feature, like making sure I'm actually posting in their events and stuff like that, because those tend to cycle better, because people like to go places. And then also group pages are becoming really popular on Facebook. A lot of people are connecting to their local community group pages, whether it's just wanting to know the town gossip or it's their city page or whatever. They like that freedom to discuss just about their, the local stuff. And so I find myself promoting a lot on group pages, like 10 or more group pages, whatever it is, whether it's a mom's group, a homeschool group, so if you aren't a person who is doing that right now with your social media, I would highly suggest that. That really helps get the word out a lot when it comes to social media. It makes those posts more worth it. So
That's a really great segue into the next topic about partnerships or community collaborations. So that is a great the idea of going into those. I'm part of one. I live in Naples, Florida, and I'm in the Naples Moms group, and exactly what you said, things like that. So yeah, let's talk about how do you approach new partnerships, whether it is digitally or perhaps with schools, or we see some great examples here on the screen right now. Tell us more about your community partnerships, please. Crystal, if you would go. Yeah.
so we actually what we've done is our community did a sort of our city actually did a few years ago, where they were trying to get response back from the community, ideas on how they're kind of redeveloping their strategic plan and what the next 10 years was going to look like for the city and the kinds of projects they wanted to bring to the table at the city using the budget. And one of the things that we put a survey out and to try to get ideas for the library, and people really, we have no senior center in our community. So one thing we did is the library and the American Legion worked together to create sort of a meetup every Thursday, and like a $5.50 lunch, and we the library, our head librarian, she goes there and she does bingo, stuff like that, but she also brings to the seniors, which is a pretty good crowd. We get like 32 regulars a week. It's nice, consistent. And she brings all the kind of information in the community to them, what the library offers, what are other resources in the community they don't know about. And that's just trying to get the word. That's trying to get that information to a group of people who are not on the digital platform where everything is being posted and not as many flyers and all that stuff. Not as much of the old stuff is happening these days in our community. And so as far as flyers and stuff like that. And so that's kind of the way they're getting their information, is creating that that avenue. But there's that. And then also during summer reading, I work at working with a lot of organizations and businesses to try to help promote our summer reading program, to get that out and our numbers up there. And that's really worked a lot. We've had a lot of businesses. I work with at least 25 businesses and organizations in helping get the word out and promoting, and that stretches our budget a bit more, which is really nice.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, so Laura, how about you and partnerships? And I know you have a strong relationship with local media. I'd love to hear more about that.
So here at the library, like I said before, Woodford County is very close-knit and very tight. So we tend to work with businesses a lot, especially with some of our programs. Just like you said, for local media, maintaining relationships with reporters comes naturally, since I used to be a news reporter in Lexington. A news producer in Lexington. So they're usually happy to cover library programs, which help us spread the word a lot and get it to other counties for other people to come to our county to come join programs. We work closely with schools, supporting classroom projects. They tend to come to our new history room to do research projects here at the library, and then also reading programs and library visits, especially with the teens. We have community partnerships with a nearby restaurant called Rolling Oven. So we have a reading log for our children, and once they fill those out, they can get a free coupon to get a free pizza at the Rolling Oven. And then also we have a coffee shop that's right down the street from us. Our teens love to go there before their programs here at the library. So we usually give them a coupon whenever they finish their reading logs as well, to get them a free coffee or a discount coffee.
Excellent, thank you. And Stephanie, yeah, talk about your community partnerships, or perhaps, how do you approach a new partnership?
Yeah, so as you have on the slide there, so our Friends of the Library group has been pretty good about reaching out and partnering with other organizations. The event there was just a garden cleanup and planting party that they did in front of the library. They partnered with our local garden club to do that, and they did a beautiful job. Sometimes we will partner with local businesses and organizations. So like one of our local ShopRite grocery store, they offer a complimentary like nutritionist. And so we would do nutrition programs with that individual. Our local credit union has an outreach person who will come and do financial education programs here. And as far as the local news media, I actually have kind of a sweet, heartwarming story that one of our patrons, he would come in here when he was a kid in middle school and high school every day after school and just hang out, do his homework, all that kind of stuff. And now he's grown up, and this grown-up library kid is now a reporter for local media. And so every once in a while, we can kind of reach out to him and be like, hey, this is going on. Do you want to cover it?
That is very heartwarming. Oh, he's got the library beat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is great. Let's talk a little bit about more about that, and that some of that local coverage. I think that there can be a hesitation at times to reach out to media, or who's going to be the spokesperson, or how do we do that? I'd love to hear. You've got a really unique connection there, Stephanie, but if there are other ways that you help build those relationships, I'd love to hear from each of you, because you all are doing some of that.
Yeah, and pretty much any news outlet, be it newspaper, television station, radio station, they're going to have a contact listed, an email where you can reach out and kind of pitch a news story. So you can always do that. Worst they can do is say no or not respond. But if you don't send that email or make that phone call, then it's not going to get covered. So it never hurts to try.
And Talor, as you were in the biz, what's your advice for being on the other side, on the receiving end?
I can say that for those who are nervous about news coming, or like just getting the information out there, they're always looking for stories to report on. It doesn't matter what the program or what you guys are trying to promote. 9 times out of 10, they will come to grab it. So don't be nervous about that. And then they also love feel-good stories. Working in like hardcore, always reporting on hardcore news can be tough. So always having that one soft, something that will make you smile. They love stories like that. So always reach out, find their email, or look for like a specific reporter or whatever, find their email, reach out to them, and I'm sure they'll love to report on your program or whatever you're trying to promote.
One of the things that I've found successful when I did more PR work in my life was, once a reporter comes, keep that contact with them and continue to pitch to them. And even if it's their day off, their colleagues are looking for stories too. So, and Crystal, I think you said you have a regular column in the paper. Can you talk about that more and how that came to be?
Yeah. Actually, so when I started the job, we already had the column as far as weekly article and events. And then so in our area, we're surrounded by other communities and libraries. There's a lot of libraries in Illinois, and it's really nice because we also in some way collaborate. Well, our local newspaper in Monroe County, they're really great at offering us free space. There is a spot in the newspaper that they have prioritized all the libraries to have a little space to do an article weekly and showcase their events. And they're amazing. I don't even have to ask them to come out to our events. They come out to our events, especially our really big ones. They'll come out to, and I know the guy by name who does our section, and he loves it. He has little kids of his own. He intentionally will bring his kids to the events while he's taking pictures, and so he's great to work with. And unfortunately I haven't done the radio or anything like that. Not that I couldn't. I could try to do that. That's something I think I'm going to work on as a goal after this. But locally in our community, we have a tourism person, a tourism and community relations person who might be, if you have a city or that they might have someone there who does all that, does all the community events. I work with that person, and they're really great on their social media, kind of what Talor does. She, going around and really kind of showcasing different businesses, and she what she does is she goes around and she showcases different businesses in town. This lady I connect with, and on her social media, so she's doing all the fun video stuff. And she's done the library, but she also is really great at posting and spreading the word and making sure we're getting in there. So as far as spreading the news like in our community, she's really great at helping with that. And so that's another way I'd say, as far as local media, I'd say your tourism person is a great person too. So that would be kind of the extent of what I've worked with as far as those two things go. So.
Lots of great ideas. And yeah, I think sometimes it's just getting out of your comfort zone a little bit too. And then once those connections are made, they're easier to maintain. And then your coworkers also get more comfortable with it too. So, okay, successes and innovative ideas. What is, one thing that, maybe was a risk or something that was unexpected, that went really well. Talor, can you lead us off with successful or innovative strategies?
One that I could say is the reels that I told you guys about. We did one, for example, we did one with it was like a voiceover with Kim Kardashian, listing off her day-to-day list that she has to do. But instead I was posting the programs that we had for the week. And that I didn't know how people would take it because we have an older crowd here, but they tend to like it really, really well. So I would say that is one of my risks. It's just the reels that we tend to do a lot.
India, who is working behind the scenes with us today, found yesterday a reel from, is it Woodford? No, another library where they did a trust fall, but they let the person, have you guys seen this? It's so great. I actually put a link to it in the PowerPoint for people to download. It is so funny that, you can't trust everybody, but you can trust your library. And I think to your point, Talor, is, taking that risk and going for the laugh. And you're going to post something new the next day and it's over. So yeah, I think having some fun with it's a great example. And Stephanie, I found on your website that I really wanted to ask you about, in addition to other things, but Flirty Fiction Book Club. Tell me more.
Okay, so I have to actually give credit to our search staff for that one. We have a couple of library assistants that work at the front desk, and we normally we don't require library assistants to run programs here at the library. It's not part of their official duties. But if we have staff members that have a good idea and the logistics work out, we like to let them run with it. So we had a couple of very voracious romance readers in our staff, and they said, we want to try this. So we let them do it. They've been doing that monthly since February. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. People seem to enjoy it.
That's fun. That is not one I had heard of before, and I want to learn more. Crystal, innovative ideas or unexpected successes?
So I kind of was thinking about this a little differently, partly because I'm naturally like a more introverted person by nature. So in my job, it expects you to kind of be on display. And so I have to be very intentional about with all the people I meet in my job to like follow up with them and try to like, actually go try to figure out how to collaborate with them. So one of the things I took that I felt like was a risk that no one really was doing at all before I came was going out and trying to work on building sponsorship around our summer reading program to allow more funding. A lot of that extra funding, even though I'm saying, oh, the sponsors are sponsoring these programs, that money really just really helps with the advertising and pushing the word out, and it really helps with all of that. And we like give businesses credit. It gets the word out of local businesses. It really kind of makes it a very a big community effort. And so that's like the one time a year I really hone in on that. And it's it's nerve-wracking asking anyone for any sort of help or in any way, with that stuff. But what I just started out with like 10 or 14, I set a goal for 10 or 14. And then after that, it's just like every year, it's just been, a snowball effect. And it really helps bring more people and more ideas into the library as far as what's happening. And so I think that that's something that has been successful. And it's not like a one-off of any kind, but it's just something I feel like it's, it takes a lot to put yourself out there, and because, everyone's in fear of rejection. And what I've learned is if you build connections with those people that are already excited and want to help to be a part of it, and then that's on full display for others in the community, those people who are skeptical tend to jump in more. And so that's where the snowball, like every summer, it's getting to be a much bigger thing. And so, yeah, so I think that's something that's kind of a fun success for our library. It brought our numbers up by a lot.
And unusual. And I think you're right. And I really, I applaud you, and I'm sure others do too, that it does take a lot to put yourself out there. I wonder, was that did you come up with that on your own, or was that part of your responsibilities in terms of like fundraising?
It's not, I came up with it on my own more, so it's one of the extra things in my job that I do. It's like, you have your whole list of job duties, but when you're in the job, you start to realize, wait, this would be a much better thing to like incorporate, and that's what it became. So I feel like it allows me to be successful in the other areas of my job duties by building those connections with all those people. I ended up kind of adding it, I guess. But my director is all on board, and our board's on board, and our friends group's on board. So, and they're very motivated by it. So it's something that everyone enjoys. So, yeah.
I bet. Well, I think a lot of people, that's a new one for sure. So Laura, would you tell us a little bit more about your podcast, how you got started, how you got going, kind of what the time investment is?
So they already planned it with the person who had my spot before I came. And so when I came, I kind of just jumped into it. So it's a collaboration with our chamber, the Woodford County Chamber. So they have all the podcast equipment. Literally, all that I do is pick the person that I would like to interview. And since I was a producer, I have to have a script. So I write my script and pick the person. It's just something quick and fun, and it seems like something that like the community loves a lot. So last month was National Library Card Sign Up Month, and I thought it would be fun if I interviewed a group of brothers who tend to come into our library a lot. The oldest is probably 9, and the youngest is probably like 3. So I did an interview with all of them in there. It was very chaotic, but it was pretty fun. So the podcast is just to get the library out there more and let them know that like we're more than just a library with books. Like we also have other materials for you that you can use for free. And then also just giving the spotlight out to those in our community that other people may not know are here.
Excellent. Well, okay, so I've got just a couple of more questions and then we'll turn it over to the audience. I see some are coming in. If quickly, perhaps what is something that you wish you knew going into a project, or a biggest challenge, something that people can learn from you? Crystal, how about you?
So I feel like my whole job is very project based, and the thing I feel like I've learned the most out of all of it is learning to delegate to other people as a practice. Not like always an expectation, like you're always motivating people to help, but just learning to because whenever people know that they can be delegated to and trusted, then when it comes to those bigger projects, you can lean on them when things don't go perfectly. And I feel like that's one of the big lessons I've learned, is not feeling like I have to manage every aspect of the project and it has to go exactly as I had planned, because I've learned that there's always something that kind of goes a little off, and it's good to have ideas. I've just learned to have ideas in my head on things like if how do if I was running something, how do I do less? Like, what do I do if I have less to, like if things go wrong enough that you're working with less, what do I do? It's like I always kind of have some ideas in the back of my head, and that's another thing I've learned in running a lot of projects or programs or events, and because people look to you to have that stuff, to know what to do. And but if they already know that you can rely on them, like you're going to rely on them to some degree, that and they're already used to being delegated out to, it's always, it's more welcomed, even during times when things are not going perfect. So I feel like that's a lesson I've learned in all of that. So
Thank you. Stephanie, how about you? Lessons learned.
I definitely have to echo that time is probably my biggest challenge because of having so many different roles and competing demands, and that delegating, absolutely. When you have really solid, dedicated staff members that you can trust them to do a job and do it well, it makes all the difference. So it can feel like a leap of faith sometimes, letting go of that control. But I can say I've been very fortunate that I have incredible staff members. They rise to the challenge every single time. And also keeping in mind that a lot of times I think we hold ourselves to a higher standard than is strictly necessary. We don't need to expect perfection from ourselves. A lot of times when you're providing a free program, a free craft, free entertainment, your community is just happy to have somewhere to go, somewhere to connect with other people, to get out of the house, have some fun. It doesn't have to be perfect every time. You just need to create a welcoming environment where people are going to be happy to be there.
Thank you. Thank you. And Talor.
I'll have to piggyback off of Stephanie. One of my biggest lessons is to learn. I learned is to trust my instincts and give myself room to experiment. Trying new ideas, whether it's a program, a marketing approach, or a partnership, it teaches me a lot. And even if it doesn't go perfectly, like it's still a lesson learned. And also trusting those who I work with.
Yeah. Sometimes that could be hard. It was hard in school projects, and it could be hard for our we type A people sometimes. Okay, and we're gonna wrap this up, and then audience questions. What is your best budget saving tip? Crystal, best budget saving tip.
Okay. So always word of mouth, always. Getting the staff, I really try to work on making sure I always communicate with frontline staff about any changes I make, anything that's kind of developing, because they're the face of your library in a lot of ways, and people go to them with questions, and I never want them to be unnecessarily unloaded onto about things. And so I've always been like transparency with your staff, letting them know where you're at. That's huge. And that saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of energy. It saves a lot of resources. So I think that just word of mouth, getting the word out, just like they're really great at promoting from the desk. Our resources, our services, our events, like they're excellent at promoting. So as long as they have the materials that you've prepared them to be with, they do it, they get it done. And so that, and just keeping them motivated. And one other thing would be just consistency. And everything you do, try to be consistent, try to make sure it's clear and simple, and that someone who I forget how many skills I have built over the years, and even though I'm not that old, I realize I've built a lot of skill sets, and not everyone has that. And so just keeping that in mind every time you're giving things out is something that I've learned is it's not easy for everyone for this or that. So the simple, clear communication and how to do something or instruction is always just a safe way to go. And again, saves on a lot of time, and it really does work in pushing out the news. That's some of those simple things that you can apply to most things when it comes to outreach or promoting. It's just, yeah. So that's all I got right now.
Thanks, Crystal. Stephanie, budget saving tip.
Okay, well, I do want to a little bit piggyback off of what Crystal said, just in terms of making sure that if you have good staff morale and you're giving them ownership of projects and programs, they're going to be excited about it, and they're going to want to share that with the patrons. So giving them that opportunity to really have a personal investment in what's going on, they're going to want their programs and their events to be successful too. So they're going to tell your patrons when they're coming up and they're checking out books about these upcoming programs. And then just from like a strictly like money saving tip, as far as just general tech resources, honestly, TechSoup, if anyone is not using that website for software, that is a huge help. If you have a friends group that is a 501c3, sometimes you can access things like we have Canva Pro that we have access to, even though I don't think they necessarily offer it directly to government agencies. If you've got a friends group that is a 501c3, they can sometimes get access to either free or inexpensive resources that you can use with your marketing, and that's been a huge help for us.
Excellent. Thank you, Stephanie. And Talor, what's your budget saving tip?
Everything everyone has already said. Basically, word of mouth is a huge part. Like they said, if your staff is excited about those programs and getting them out, it makes the other people excited and want them to come and see what everything is about at the library. And then also leaning on partnerships, local businesses, artists. We tend to partner with artists here in our gallery. We'll put up their stuff for free and everyone can come and maybe buy one of their stuff. So just doing stuff like that. And then other organizations, it lets us offer programs that we might not otherwise be able to while creating fun and engaging experience for the community.
Thank you. Thank you to each of you. Wow, so much information. We do have some questions from the audience. Again, as a quick reminder, you'll see some icons on your screen. Type it in there. The first one, this question is for Crystal. What is an example of what you share on your city notification app, and how frequently do you share on it?
So actually, the way I don't actually share much on notifications. I wish I did. I didn't. I'll have to talk to her about that and see if that's something I can do more frequently. But what we have is actually the city is in charge of sending out. They send out specific city notifications. But what we have is a link on there that will click them into a page on the app that specifically lists like certain links that are popular. So like I made sure like our my account, them accessing their account and the catalog from, or our website, just general website, or our ebooks page, or like not ebooks page, our e-resources page, our events calendar. Those are the the 5 top places to go to like find library services or resources, or how to get a library card, things like that. And they allowed us to have that, and that's just like an ongoing thing. So I don't have to do a lot of interacting with that. But I kind of wonder, I could ask them if I could throw a notification out every once in a while, because that's a really great they probably told me and I just totally forgot about that, but I'm going to look into it because I'm sure it's a possible thing. I just haven't done it. So, but yeah, it's great if your city has an app and you're able to get on it. Just being on there is a huge, it helps. It's another place the library is being seen. So
exactly. Thank you. A question that says, are any of the presenters solely a publicist for the library? So, publicity or outreach is a dedicated work, or are you a librarian with PR as an additional job duty? Talor, why don't we start with you for that one?
I am just strictly the PR and marketing manager, nothing else. I don't have a degree in being a librarian. So yeah, that's all that I do.
And I wonder, how unusual that is. How about you, Stephanie?
So officially, my job title is librarian. I'm not dedicated. Obviously, I have a lot of different duties, but I am in kind of a unique situation because my undergraduate degree is business administration with a concentration in marketing. So while I've not formally worked in a dedicated marketing role, I did go to grad school right out of college. I still have the educational background, so I do have that foundation for marketing. So it's kind of neat being able to put that to use in my professional life.
Excellent. Thank you. And Crystal?
So my official title is really Assistant Director / Community Engagement Librarian. That is exactly how long it is. And I do have a degree in library. I have a master's in library science, and I have a bachelor's in art. So I have art skills. And so those two have played really well in my job. So the marketing thing is just kind of coming a little bit more. I mean, a lot of the stuff involved in that comes a little bit more naturally because of some of the skills I picked up over the years in those degrees. But yeah, that's like mainly my thing. And I do a lot of community engagement, and I plan all the events for our library for all ages. It's a big, giant position. We could have another full-timer, honestly. I'm not even gonna lie. We could divide my job up a little bit if we wanted, but yeah, and then I assist the director on anything she's working on. So, and I help her with that stuff. So yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, we have time for one more question, and this is a big one. I love it. How is AI changing what you do with outreach, and what AI tools are you using, if any? So I'll open that up. Perhaps, would you like to start, Stephanie?
Okay, so we have not been doing anything with like generative AI, specifically for ethical and copyright reasons. I do have connections with folks in like the publishing and the art industry, and knowing that a lot of it is trained on stolen material, I don't really feel great
Mm,
ethically using that. Now, in terms of like analytics, absolutely. But yeah, we kind of try to stay away from it. We are fortunate though that we do have two staff members that have degrees and work experience as graphic artists. So we are fortunate that we have folks that we can sort of lean on to produce a lot of original artwork. One of them actually made a collaborative, like a giant coloring sheet that was modeled after the library for our summer reading program. We just put it out and patrons could come in and color it. So we're really lucky that we have folks that do have the skills, and we don't really need to lean on AI for that kind of thing.
excellent. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you. Talor, how about you? Are you guys using any AI in outreach? And if so,
Uh, no, not really. Like Stephanie said, we tend to stay away from it, especially for like creating content and all that. I'm a big Canva girl, so I'll just create my stuff from Canva. But yeah, I don't think there's really a need for us in using AI.
excellent. Thank you. Crystal, your thoughts?
So I still use Canva. I use Pixabay, which has public domain images available. So for anyone who's interested in that, but I have been playing a little bit with it. I just last night I could not find any discussion questions on our book club book, and so I literally went to GBT chat to draw up book club questions, and it worked just great, and it was excellent, better than what I usually find. And then but I got a new director recently, and she's very like, she has like chat GTP or whatever up on her computer like all day long, and she's playing with it. So she told me like there's like a image posted or something that was like not fully clear, perfect or something on social media, and she's like, oh, you can go and use it to unblur your images. And so I'm still kind of learning and playing, but yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, and there's so many layers and levels and
Yeah.
hows and whens, and yeah, certainly a hot topic of discussion. Well, boy, that time has just flown by. I want to say thank you so much. Thank you to the audience who are here. Thank you for your questions. But in the interest of time, I do want to get in our quick next steps. But first, thank you to Lord Bennett with Woodford Public Library, Stephanie Rath-Tickle with Phillipsburg Free Library, and Crystal Snyder with Columbia Public Library. Thank you for all of your great work, your partnerships with NewsBank and your communities. It was really inspirational. So we are grateful for your time and for all you do. I think we all have some new ideas to try. That's really exciting. So thank you very much. And we here at NewsBank want to keep the conversation going. You may have heard of our project. We kicked it off this summer. It's called Checked In, and it's one of NewsBank's quarterly social media series to create a forum for libraries and librarians to share and exchange ideas. You can see here Talor participated last quarter over the summer on summer reading, so thank you very much. But this quarter, kicking off today, this is, you guys who are here are the first to hear about it and be invited to participate in our newest Checked In event that is surrounding innovative ideas in marketing and really creating a forum to share how your library promotes its resources. So I think we started with a lot of great ideas here today. It's a very easy way to try something new, get your library's name out and more conversations on social media, perhaps gain some new followers. and give it a try. Then you can put it in your next report to your boss or your board or your donors. So you're welcome for that. There's a link in this presentation. There's a handout section. You may see it looks like a piece of paper with a paperclip on it. If you open that up, you can download this whole presentation that has the links there, or it will also be in the follow-up email that we send to you. You'll be getting that tomorrow afternoon. Another takeaway, because we know that staying on top of visibility and training and outreach is a lot, we at NewsBank do try to make it more accessible and save you some time. We have an online marketing and resource center dedicated to public libraries, and in it we have write-ups for your website or newsletter, social media ideas, along with some graphics you can use. We have printouts like bookmarks. We even have social media posts. They're ready to use. You can sign up for them, and we'll actually email you monthly social media post ideas. So we've got that, and then my favorite document is our top 5 ready-to-use engagement strategies, which includes an outline for a press release or newsletter release, website blurbs about NewsBank that you can copy and paste, social media, quick videos about how to use NewsBank resources, and a link to a training webinar so that you can teach people how to use them. And you can truly copy and paste it and just type in your library's specific information, or use it as an inspiration to create your own. And you know, as a marketing person, I can tell you, we are always open to new ideas and content. Sometimes, you know, like everybody, we can get into a rut or the way we do things. So you know, having some new content that's already curated is great. So even if you aren't the main outreach or marketing person for your library, I ask you to please pass it along, share it with your colleagues. So again, all of the information that we talked about, the links, they are in this presentation. Download it now, or it will be in your follow-up email. If you have any trouble, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to send it over to you. We hope that you found this session valuable. You have actionable ways to reach out to your patrons and communities right away. So again, thank you, Crystal, Talor, and Stephanie for being here. It was really, really fascinating and fun. So thank you for your time. The audience, as you exit, there'll be a quick survey. Let us know what you thought about today, how we can improve. And we couldn't do it without you and our community. So thank you to all of you for sharing part of your day with us. Bye.